It has been about 3.5 years since I came out as bigender. And I want to go through some of the things that have changed since then and a little bit about what that process looked like. So I have some notes. So I want to start off by saying I figured out, I always knew that my gender wasn't just male or just female, but I kind of figured it out the fall winter of 2012 when I was in London, and I remember putting on a suit and looking in the mirror and saying Sebastian, and I just knew that that was my male name. Past that, I never really talked about it with anybody except my partners that I was intimate with. It would come up sometimes, but it wasn't really something that was explored further than that, and it definitely wasn't something that I talked about with my friends, really. Maybe a couple friends, but definitely not something I spend a lot of time thinking about. Then, right around the time that I had met my current wife, Rebecca, early on in our relationship, I was having a conversation with her and one of our mutual friends at dinner, and I was trying to say, like, yeah, like, I'm not, like, trans the way that I understood trans. Like, I'm not binary trans, I'm not a man, but I'm not a woman either, so what the hell is that? And then the morning after we had that dinner, they sent me all of these articles about, like, genderqueer, gender fluid, non-binary, and then I saw bigender, which is under all of those umbrellas. I think I've talked about this in one of my previous videos, but you know, this experience of being either exclusively a man or exclusively a woman, depending on the day or situation. And I was like, holy crap, like, that's me. And I, like, finally had a word for it. So once I figured that out, I came out on Instagram, which is why I'm saying it's been about 3.5 years, because that was the first time that I'd come out to a bigger audience than just the intimate people around me. Suddenly my family knew, all my friends knew, some of my colleagues knew. And once I had the words for it and I could put a name to it, I could really start understanding it and exploring what it meant for me. So I started to get way better at being honest about, like, hey, I'm Maya, but I'm also Sebastian. And I try to introduce myself that way and I still mess it up. But so I started doing that. I started getting better about being honest about the expressions that I needed. So days when I was male, like binding my chest and packing, like actually listening to my needs around that and acting on them, because it's been something that for a really long time, and I still do this, I kind of just like push down and I'm like, I don't have the emotional energy to think about this today. But it's something that's really important. So I started to come out, like I said, to general population, friends, family. I started to be more honest at work about my gender, you know, saying like, hey, please ask me my pronouns and my name because they can change. I made the decision that I don't want to take testosterone. So that was something that was offered to me by my primary care provider. I go to a really queer and trans friendly doctor, Fenway Health in Boston. Anyway, he was like, hey, yeah, maybe you want to take testosterone, maybe you want to take it on a lower dose. I decided that I don't really think that that's something I'm ever going to do. I really like my voice the way it is, and I don't want that to change. I also don't really want the added body hair that comes from taking testosterone. But the other thing that I saw a lot of non-binary and trans people doing was, you know, getting top surgery. And that was something that I was on the fence about for a really, really long time, and like trying to figure out what I needed. And I actually think I'm going to make a separate video just explicitly about that decision and everything that went into that decision-making process. But so I got a gender therapist. That was my next step, and I was like, I want somebody to talk about, really like help me work through what are the things that are blocking me around having a firm yes or no on this decision. And after working with her for probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months, I came to the conclusion that, you know what, I do want top surgery. So I reached out to a surgeon and I scheduled the date. So I am going to be getting top surgery on June 22nd, 2021. So that's only a couple of months away, and I'm really excited, but I'm also really nervous. But I'm more excited than nervous, certainly. And yeah, I feel like those are really the huge updates that happened between me coming out about 3.5 years ago and where I'm standing right now. I still have my gender therapist. I'm still working with her. The biggest thing I'm working with her on right now is the fact that even though I am getting better at checking in with myself and I am getting better at being honest with other people about what I need, it's still not something that I'm great at. Like, I gotta wake up in the morning and I gotta like really check in and listen and say like, are you just gonna do the default Maya thing? Or, you know, is Sebastian actually who you are, and is that what you need, and is that better? Like, or are you just pushing down those feelings of not being comfortable with your chest today and not being comfortable with other parts of your body today because it's just not something that you want to deal with? And that's hard. It's because I guess it's hard because I've been pushing it down for so long and then teaching myself to listen to what I need and then expressing those needs to the people around me. So I guess my advice for anybody, if that's what you're looking for, anybody similar going through this process, is that it is a process. Like, there is no one way to be trans, no one way to be non-binary, and certainly no one way to be bigender. You just have to be honest with yourself through every single step of the process and just try and do what's best for you. So I guess the YouTube thing to say is, if you like this video and want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. And also check out my Instagram. It should be linked in the description, Cosmicphenomenon, and also my website, which is cosmicphenomenon.com.